Welcome to Martial Mentality, a martial arts inspired podcast. And today we have a very, very special guest, Sifu Othal Thomas. But I'm going to go ahead and let him introduce himself, and then we'll go around the table and introduce everybody. So Sifu, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, as you said, my name is Othal Thomas. I have approximately 40 years of experience in Chinese martial arts. Most of the time was spent in Northern Shaolin 7-Star Praying Mantis, but over the past 4 years or so, I've been doing 7-Star Praying Mantis of the Orthodox Lin family. So I made that shift over to the Lin family 7-Star.
And we're going to maybe discuss some of that on this podcast. And we also have another guest on the podcast that you haven't seen in a while, Mr. John Cabre.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you, Sifu. Thank you, Sifu.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you guys know Trevor, you know Joe, and you know me. So let's go ahead and get started. So today we actually did a seminar with Sifu Thomas. So Sifu, do you want to kind of take us through what the seminar encompassed and tell YouTube land what we did today?
Sure. The Lin family has a complete combat training fundamentals or Jibin training. They teach a training called Wushu. Wushu is the short name for Tanglang Wubu Chui. Tanglang Wubu Chui is a preparatory combat drill where you learn how to use the principles of 7-Star in real time against a live person, and you attack and they defend. So you learn to use Go, you learn to use Lo, you learn to use Gua, you learn to use both high and low Gua. You also learn the basic attacking steps, Jinbu, Shangbu, and pouncing step, Dianbu, and then the other step is advancing step. So all of these steps are used in that drill. But it's on a kind of a combat platform where there's attack and there's defense. If you do not defend properly, you will get hit. And we use for defense primarily high and low Gua, and also we use the withdrawal method, right? The withdrawal step.
And I can definitely say from doing the seminar today that you're right. If you do not block, you will get hit.
We ate a lot of hits today.
Yeah, we did. But the important thing that I think I learned from taking the seminar was the martial applicability of what you're doing. And what I have learned is that, unfortunately, sometimes in more traditional styles, we don't always have that application training like we should, like sometimes like other systems. And so that's definitely something in even my own training that I am trying to, expound upon. So I appreciate you, showing that, because you blew my mind today, honestly.
Thank you, brother. One of the things is that the paired practice is really important for the Lin. I'm only going to speak about Lin, even though I have lots of experience in another family of 7-Star. But in the Lin paired practice and paired practice that goes back to the founding of the style is present. The paired practice is, of course, Wushu. We also have Teishin Kaoda, which is body conditioning, strengthening, and iron body training. We have Lohangong as basic training for the inside, right? And so you have those things together, and then you also have structure training or posture training, which has the 8 postures that are found in 7-Star. We make a clear delineation between postures, shi, and steps or movement, bu.
And I can definitely see, like, from taking the seminar, like, if you learn these things, like, you're gonna have a very strong, not only mind, body, and spirit, but like once you start learning the taolu or the forms, that's just the fighting combinations.
Yes. And 7-Star Praying Mantis is a style that is combat oriented. So the even the internal training, that's Cantonese. The 18 Lohan, that has it's actually called martial Qigong. It is not health Qigong. So along with the 3 primary elements: movement, mind, and breath. The mind is moving energy to certain parts of the body for a combat result.
I never really know there was two, just like, I didn't know they differentiated in Qigong between just martial and like health. Like, okay, it's interesting.
It's a tendency, martial Qigong has a tendency to have the activities, especially in Lohang, between hard and soft, and also the movements go from 0 to 100.
So let me ask you this, like with martial Qigong, could you, take, let's say let's say you have an exercise and maybe it's not exactly martial, but I guess you could maybe change it to be more martial, or could you take a form and the way you practice it, make it more Qigong oriented? I mean, I know you can, but I'm just kind of asking your opinion on that.
Well, what guides the Qigong is the principles. So the principles guide the Qigong of the particular style. So the Lohang Gong for us really accentuates the strengthening and the lengthening of the tendons. So, but it's all related to 7-star. So if you have a Qigong and you try to add in, the things that the principles of your style, I don't know, perhaps you'll be successful. I can't really speak on that. I don't know whether or not that would be the case. At heart, I'm a hardcore traditionalist and a purist, which I've been accused of for a very long time. I'm not sure whether or not that can happen. But what happens with the Lin is that everything matches together. I'm going to say something that may tee a few people off, but I like to say the curtains match the drapes. Okay, everything matches, and that has a lot of connotations to it, so we'll just leave it. But so what you're doing, go is go no matter what. Okay, low is low no matter what. Opening, right, and closing is opening and closing no matter what. How you move the body, the waist is like the whip, never changes. Okay, the waist is the stick, the arms are the whip. That doesn't change. So the principles and the tactics and the theories of the style find their way into everything that you learn in the style. So it reinforces one another. There is not a time where you're doing something that doesn't support something else.
It's interesting you say that. I've kind of started branching out. I didn't want to ask this say this right off the bat, but like I started branching out into more modern stuff, right? Boxing, like kickboxing, stuff like that. And I was telling Sifu at how well I felt like I was prepared in learning that. I wasn't like those principles 100% apply. Everything I learned here applies. Things like you just said, hips, staying relaxed, staying loose, hard, soft targets, all that. Everything applies. So it's interesting you say that.
Yeah. It's it may not be important in the very beginning for like when I was 20, none of this was important to me. It was just the ability to throw kicks and punches and punch people and kick them in the head. I was I'm still like going to competitions and doing a lot of sparring, both full contact and otherwise. But once you peel back the layers, there has to be more to the content. There has to be something there. And so you search for that something, right? A martial art should provide those things. The things that you're looking for to strengthen the martial art should be in the martial art. You shouldn't really have to go and search outside of that particular martial art to do that. That's not perfect. Every once in a while, there's something that's missing from what it is you're training, or you don't understand it. But the difference between a 20-year-old me learning martial arts and a 66-year-old me learning martial arts is that my needs must be met. Okay, they must be met. Those things need to be there in order for me to continue doing it, because I don't like disjointedness. I don't like, this comes from here and that comes from there, but it hasn't had time to marinate, because 7-star is a style that is technically eclectic. It carries over the principles from 18 different styles. Okay, it's the principles of the 18 different styles, not necessarily the movements of the 18 different styles. Inside the movement has to be the principle. Principle guides movement, and the byway leads everything. So we'll leave that alone for a minute. We'll come back to the byway.
Yeah, and so we had a great conversation today, Joe, just kind of about like, our style and principles and things of that nature, and how not just our style, but just kind of traditional martial arts in general, sometimes certain style systems, or even the way they're taught or the way they're passed down, a lot of those things may be missing. And so sometimes there's a lot of holes in a system that have not necessarily been filled in. And so it can be really interesting that, if you're learning something, and let's say, for example, all you're learning is forms.
Right.
You just learn the forms, you just know the forms, but maybe you don't know the principles or the tactics. Let's use that term. You don't know the tactics behind why you're doing what you're doing. And one thing that Sifu did today that I really enjoyed was he was showing waist movement and head movement along with, so as we were doing things, it was like, no, move your head. A lot of traditional styles don't do that. What are you doing? You're just going straight ahead, or you're turning and things like that. But it was like, no, move your head.
You had to get out of the way.
Right? Yeah. If you didn't get out of the way, you were gonna get hit.
Especially on line 2, that third movement.
You're gonna get hit.
It was, yes.
And it was like, oh. And naturally, like when somebody was coming at you with a thread, you went, ooh, ooh, oh, okay. Yeah. I got to do this. If I don't, I'm getting blasted.
And just to reiterate what Sifu was saying, in our forms, yes, the movements might look similar, but the body mechanics, they need to be precise. And in Mantis, it's the little dips and the little bobs and weaves that really make the difference, or else you're going to take it, you're going to get hit. And the drill we were doing was fairly simple. If you were just to come in the room and look at it, you'd be like, oh, that's not hard. But then you hop in and try to do it, you're going to get hit because you're not moving correctly, and that's all part of it. The body mechanics have to flow with the drill correctly, and that was huge today.
Yeah, you said it better than I could.
Purpose drives movement. I'm gonna remember that one.
Yeah,
and really, you kind of know it, but I think he really drove home principles. You need to kind of understand the principles of what you're doing. And to be honest, a lot of times we don't know the principles of everything that we're doing. And so it's hard to kind of understand, well, how exactly am I using this style, this system that I'm doing to fight with it? What you're training should translate to fighting. And another thing that Sifu and us discussed today was, if you look at a lot of what they've done in the martial arts community, you got the forms and everything on this side, and then you got the fighting on this side. Well, shouldn't they be one and the same? It should be, but they're separated, and it shouldn't be like that. So we really got into a great conversation about it needs to be all encompassing. Otherwise,
even on the other end of the spectrum, if you've got a school that, whether it's karate or kung fu, you're doing forms, kata, and that's all you do. Or vice versa, where if you're just going in kickboxing, right, and you don't have the real intention, maybe you're in there to score points, or maybe you're in there sometimes things have more than one purpose. What about the real world defense? Now this changes things, you know what I mean? So I think even on the other end of the spectrum, people don't always think about things like that.
Yeah. And definitely what we were doing today, that ain't sparring.
No.
That ain't sparring. No. We not sparring. That's real.
Wow.
You gonna really get hurt.
Move.
Right, move. Right. No, he went for my throat.
We're going for throat.
Yes, yeah. He went for my throat.
And then that body conditioning and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
The attention Kaudai is rough. It's rough. You condition the entire body, and you also learn how to condition the 7 stars. Okay, and that's really the big question is a lot of us have heard, and throughout my career I've heard, the mind must be calm and relaxed as you attack, and that sounds admirable, but the next question is, how do you train it?
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I got a little lesson in that today.
How do you train it? How do you train it in a way that it's measurable, right, and you can increase your ability through constant training? So that's so important. And what I like about the Lin is you learn how to train those small things that you think are not that important until you realize that the difference between success and failure is a small thing. It's it's a very small thing. So what I wanted to share is what excited me. I mean, when I started learning this and I spent time working with this, I said to myself, this needs to be shared. I mean, of course, I could have came here and we could have done a taolu. And you look really good doing it, and you're doing great force, and your body's doing what you think it's going to do. But we did work on taolu. We worked on the inside and the 6 harmonies. And then you start to realize why taolu is done a certain way. The harmony between the hips and the shoulders, the fists and the feet, the knees and the elbows. You start to realize what that means. And you take that in real time, and you start to work with a partner to do that. The partner's, like I said, just trying to take your neck off your head.
Literally.
Okay, boom. And what you're doing is you are not doing this, you're doing this. And the hand does that too.
Right.
And the hips are involved because your hips have to come too. The waist moves and the hips move. You can't leave your hips behind because then you're unstable. Okay? So you learn how to do it because somebody's attached to you trying to get up on you. And so if you're off balance, you're going to stumble. So it's very simple. It's the things that you find in 7-star. Okay, when we're doing Taishin Kao Dao, there's no swinging the arms just to swing the arms to make contact. What happens is that you're using Kwa against Pi. You're using Ke, which means to bump. Both of you are doing Ke. Yeah? So you're starting to use those movements that you find throughout the system. So when you start to learn Taolu, you understand how that energy works because you've been banging yourself to death doing it. So you understand how this works. And you also know when you're doing it with great force and when you're just not doing it with much force. So Ke, you learn what Ke is, which means to knock or to bump. You know what Go actually is, which means to guide. You learn what Lo means, which means to embrace. You know what Kwa, which means to suspend, but it also means to entangle. Right? And you don't just know it here. And you don't just know it here, you know it here.
Oh yeah.
Right there.
I'm definitely gonna be feeling this tomorrow, knowing that.
So Joe, I worked with Sifu on one of the drills, the Kao Dao.
Kao Dao, yes.
Listen, I knew I was doing it wrong because I'm like, oh hey, that hurt. That didn't feel good. I got to do this right because that hurt. So
Even if you do it right, I guarantee it still don't feel
it didn't feel good, but
it's a conditioning thing.
Yeah,
you will get your body will become stronger. And what I love about let me shout out my teachers, Mauricio Zanetti. What I really love about what my teacher introduced me to is that he introduced me to training that supports the overall system. It's a system of training. So the 7-star Praying Mantis is a system. It has its own methodology, right? Every style has Shen Fa, but 7-star Praying Mantis has its own Shen Fa, its own body, right? The energy of the body, how the body moves. Not to say it's immensely different from other Shen Fa, but it's both different and the same, right? That seems to be a contradiction until you get your butt out there and you find out that, you're moving your waist. Yeah, we both moving our waist, but I'm also extending my spine and doing this to you, right? I'm also lifting up the perineum and then sinking as I strike you. It looks the same. It is both the same and different.
Yeah, a lot of things that when you put them together, you go, okay, this works, and it's really effective.
It's very simple and effective.
Yeah,
Right.
It's simple, but it's also extremely intricate.
Right, exact same time.
Some of the stuff you were going on is like, I never would have thought about it like this, but when we were doing it, okay, this makes sense why we're doing it like that.
Right.
With Wushu, one side is dedicated to using the principles of the style not to get hit. But not only not to get hit, but to stop the forward progression of the person who's trying to hit you. And also inside is the counter. But because we're using speed, what it does is it makes you patient and it makes you disciplined, so that you don't throw the counter initially. What you do is you use your feet, you use your body, and you take the target away, which is a far higher skill in my opinion. Removing the target so you can't hit me is frustrating, right? So you learned that skill. So now moving the target, taking it away, making it so the person is not in a good position, and then launching your attack at the same time, you're able to do that because you're using your waist and you're using the opening and the closing. And you can use speed. And a lot of the things that we do in the Lin family are really, speed is so important. And a lot of things we don't do in Lin family 7-star is because it's too slow. It's too slow because we're always changing. Recently, there was an interview with my grand teacher, Lin Dongzhu, and Lin Dongzhu expressed that. He said it's about the changing. It's about the three speeds or the three hands. And the changing. My Sifu says it's about adapting to the situation. And you can't adapt to the situation if you can't adapt if all you ever do is he attacks, I change. You adapt to the situation and then exploit the situation. And you can only do that with both speed and power. And it helps if what you're practicing in Taolu is actually what you're doing.
So you change the situation.
Ooh, yeah.
Change the situation to your favor
That's
very
right.
quickly.
Yeah.
And I think that's something, in a lot of traditional arts that they kind of miss. It's almost like, a lot of times I almost feel like they teach you to be on the back foot more than anything.
Self-defense.
Yeah, well, right. And when you hear that term, that's why I don't really like that term, even though we use it. It's almost very reactive, very passive, and everybody at this table knows that fighting is not like that. Like, if you want to win a fight, you have to be proactive and aggressive.
You better do something.
Right.
I swear by defense, but your defense can be top notch. But if you don't throw something back,
Man, you got to.
you're gonna lose. Simple as that.
Yeah. You got to.
Eventually you have to. But,
Some defensive situations, like Joe said, you might have to just fight your way out of. And that's the that's where the discipline and the effective form and the effectiveness of your applications to the forms come into play. You instantly, they come out of you. It's not nothing you have to stop and think about and say, oh wait, let me review this, let me review that. It just comes out of you in the situation when it requires it. So
you once told us forms were invented, and because people were allowed to train by themselves. Right.
Well, that's another reason for it.
That's one reason for it, right?
Training by themselves. But even Sifu Thomas has reiterated this more for me today, that they should be like fighting combinations and tactics and skills that you're learning of that system,
Right.
which is why you're learning it.
Yes.
And what he's doing, and that's what I like about the Lin family, is that their exercises and things are backing up the tactics and the
Right.
skills.
put the money where the mouth is.
Exactly
And
right.
And you start with that.
Right.
Yes.
I think it can't be understated that take something like slipping a punch to the outside, keeping your hands up. Right. You can show someone that many times, but eventually you're gonna have to throw a punch at them to make them really do it.
Yeah.
Because like you said earlier, if I move from here and just kind of turn my head, I'm not slipping a punch. And somebody with a fast jab, you better move quick. And as you guys were doing earlier, something to the throat. You better move.
Or in our
You
form,
better
you move
move.
over there. We're just going to move back over here.
Yeah.
We're just going to move over there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's great to have a partner to train with.
Yeah.
The skill sometimes called in Chinese translates as illuminating the eyes. There is a lot of that in 7-star, where we purposely put our hands in your face, right? Because if for a brief moment you can't see me, for that moment I can do something to you that you can't see coming. Okay, so built into the tactics is that concept, and then in various Taolu there are specific times where it's overtly that. But it's always present because, the idea is to go after the eyes. So these things that you see inside Wushu, which is what we were really working on today, is you get to practice those things. You get to practice those things against an opponent, and the opponent is not standing there and letting you pull the hand. So you actually get to throw punches with a little more speed and strikes with a little more speed because the person is avoiding and countering or blocking or redirecting. So you can throw it with fidelity instead of having to come up short like this. And so because that's practicing, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So you start out slowly and you add speed. The goal with according to my Sifu, and he says that the goal of Wushu is ultimately free fighting. We strip away all the you do this and I do this and you do this and then we do this, right? First, so you add speed. By adding speed, you add more risk to it. And then you take away the so-called organized structure. This is what we're doing and this is what we're doing. And you do what you need to do according to the situation. The same way it is in sparring or free fighting. It's that way. The great thing about that is that you start out by using the methods, the principles, and the tactics of the style. So there is no disconnect. So when you learn, say, in our family, the first empty hand form taught is Cha Chui. Cha Chui is a very important form for us because it represents the 5 old masters. There was a collaborative effort between 5 practitioners from the Shandong region that were friends including Wang Yunsheng, and they created a form that ultimately became called Cha Chui. Cha Chui has inside of it all these things that you see inside 7-star, because Cha Chui is a 7-star form. It was created by the 7-star people, all right? And the great thing about Cha Chui is that it's a great transitional form. It's a great form. It has enough praying mantis in it to make it praying mantis X, but it also has the other style. So it has long, and it's supposed to be performed long and fast. So longer movements are hard to do quickly. So it sets the body up to move fast because you're taking longer steps and you're using longer movements. So in the Lin, the first form that is learn Cha Chui. I learned Cha Chui before. This has been a different experience for me, this Cha Chui.
And I know with the Lin, they have less Taolu than some of the other praying mantis systems, correct?
I don't really want to address that. I really, you have as many Taolu as you have in Taolu. What I want to say is that for me, the Lin family has the right amount of Taolu. And this is specifically for me, because I don't want to say anything because I was an exponent of another branch, and I was diehard, I was a zealot, and I don't have the right really to say, oh, this is more, this is less. I really would much rather keep it with the Lin, because I, at one time, had a thin skin when it came to what I was doing, and I don't want to give anyone an offense. If you just, whatever you decide to do, whatever your family, you love it, go right ahead. I just happen to love the family I'm in right now.
Fair enough.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know for myself, I'm searching for answers. So
We both are.
I'm not afraid to say I'm searching for
We
answers.
all should be.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep searching for answers, and I'm going to keep asking questions, and I'm going to keep researching, and I'm going to keep doing different things. And, one thing I can definitely say from today is, you made me rethink some of the things that even I'm doing in my own training, or how maybe I'm teaching, or maybe even how I apply something, so for example, this movement here, I'm gonna rethink that now because he showed me a different way, and I'm going, okay, like that is more effective.
Yeah,
Right.
because
A little
the
more than a
extending
willow.
of the tendon.
Right, exactly. All right, that makes it different, and so and that's why doing these things are is so important, because you do get a different point of view, and it does make you question, but also look for answers within your own system of martial art that maybe sometimes you wouldn't have looked at before.
Right. And that was my major question for Sifu Thomas, was that this point in my martial arts training, which I'm still relatively new, going on about 3.5 years total.
Really? Only 3.5?
Only
It's
3
been longer, John.
No, only 3.5. 5 tournaments, but who's counting, right? So, but my concern was, hey, I love my school. I'm sold in. I'm sold to the long fist system, our style. I've seen it work. I've seen my improvements. But is there a way that 7-Star Mantis can apply to what I'm doing to make my martial arts better all around? Sifu Thomas told me the best advice. He said, "Hey, do you like do you like your school? Or do you feel comfortable? Is it a good fit? Then keep doing it. You got to keep exposing yourself to where you're at, what works for you, and then incorporating these other techniques in with your training. Don't be so closed-minded to where you're like, oh, this system is the only system I want to do, and I'm not going to do anything else because you're selling yourself short. I think."
I've got like 2 thoughts on that. It's like, for one, you can't expect an opponent to fight you the way you know how to fight, first of all. And then second of all, I've been training about 3 years as well, right? And I'm still trying to find my fighting style. Every time I think I have found like some things that work, I learn something new, and it's like, and it's not only just for me to try, and if it works well for me, it's like, well, how do I defend against that?
Exactly. What if somebody's using this against me?
So it's constantly evolving,
Yeah.
It's like if you can pick up that style, it's like a feather in your cap, another feather in your cap. And the more you know, the deadlier or the more dangerous you are. And that's the point. We want to become better at defending ourselves, better at a situation, getting ourselves out of a situation that arise out of the blue and we don't want to be in. That's the whole purpose we're here.
7 Stars a combat style. Taolu is done the same way as you fight. You practice, everything is supported by everything that's in this particular system. And it's not just in word, but in deed. You can see the examples I gave you today of how, you use a planting punch. The way you do it in Taolu is exactly the same way you do it when you do it to an opponent, because the supporting things are there. Okay, so, and also you illuminate the eyes before you do it, which gives you a little bit of an advantage, just a slight advantage while you're doing it. So it's in the usage of the waist and all of these things. So these things lend themselves to expressing yourself. So once you understand those principles, and you understand the tactics of the style. Remember, we were talking about in our art form. In our art form, it's personal, practical, and cultural. The last thing that you develop is the personal. Okay? All artists, the last thing they develop is personal. Picasso didn't start out by doing cubist paintings.
Right.
Okay?
People always say like Beethoven, right? People say he's pitch perfect, right? Or what's the word?
Perfect
pitch, right?
Yes.
That is not something you are born with. Like people think, oh, he's an amazing musician because he's got, pitch
Born
perfect.
with
No,
perfect pitch.
he worked for that.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So the culture that he found himself in supported, right, the practical application. When you look at it, you can just see it there. You skip past those other things and you end up with just personal. For those people who find that personal expression is better for them, more power to you. Yeah, but in the way arts are, right, personal, practical, and cultural. The cultural piece for 7 Star, it's a Shandongese culture. It's not a Chinese culture. It's a Shandongese culture. It comes from the Shandong province, right? And it comes from, for the most part, an urban center as opposed to a rural center. Okay, these things determine the nature of a style culturally. It also, the native tongue there is Shandongese. It is a variant of Mandarin. So all of these things, the the mythology, the need for the worshiping of the North Star, the fact that the white ape, the story of the white ape is part of the white ape series of forms. All of these things are cultural things that find their way into a martial art. There's no way possible for an older civilization to not have its cultural things. And so cult, the roots word, the culture is cult. So finding a way to balance out that cult thing becomes the practical, right? And then in order to express yourself and be who you are within those two other things, it's the personal. You select what it is you're going to do. With principles are guiders. It's the boundary on a puzzle. The puzzle pieces are the elements of the style. The principles are the guides around that puzzle that determine how that puzzle is put together. And what you do, if you want to change, if you change the puzzle pieces, the principle doesn't change because it's still the guide rail.
Be the guide.
Yeah.
The framework.
Yeah.
That reminds me of your saying about learning the rules before you break them.
Yeah. But I'm also coming to realize that, some of the rules that I thought I knew, maybe I don't know as well.
All right.
Like it makes me rethink. Like it's almost like he said this earlier about unlearning and relearning and things of that nature. And it's like, okay, I thought I knew that rule, but maybe I don't know that rule, or maybe that rule tweaks a little bit now.
Right.
And now this is a new rule.
I think that's one of the great things about branching out too, is it keeps you, like, remember we talked about one of the other podcasts about kind of that day one mentality? Like, I really appreciate that because, like, you don't necessarily always have to unlearn something. It's just you may learn a different way of doing it or whatever the case may
Right.
be.
Another tool for the toolbox.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
I think a good, like, we had a podcast not too long ago, season 1, what makes a good Sifu. I think one of the things that makes a good Sifu is always learning, so they can always pass that knowledge on. They're open to new things. They're not just one-dimensional.
Yeah.
Right.
Grounded inside the reality of what it is they're teaching. It's really, a lot of times when you read the manuscripts, they translate as laws. And in order to break a law, you have to understand it. If you don't understand it, you don't know you're breaking it. And so,
Ignorance is
right.
no excuse.
Ignorance is not bliss.
And ignorance is no excuse.
Yes, sir.
Right. So the job of the teacher is to teach with fidelity the thing that he says or she says she's teaching. If you say you're teaching, blah 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 style, and then I find out it's yee style, and you've been telling me it's blah blah blah, that's not fidelity. Even if at a later date you found out that it wasn't what you said before, fidelity demands that you say that it's not what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Ask my students about that one.
Okay. We kind of said this on the podcast before where we talked about, being honest about what you teach.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, through some conversations with, just various people, not everybody is being honest about what they teach, and so this is where you as the practitioner have to make sure that you're doing your own research, doing your own studies to make sure that, hey, is what I'm getting actually effective and working for me?
Like trust but verify.
Right,
Oh, yeah.
right.
The military will.
Oh yeah, no, I've already been hearing that a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
It gives you an opportunity. In this day and age, we have so much information and the world is smaller. It is both a blessing and a curse. Because you have access to so much, and since not everything on the internet or anything that you read is necessarily factual, but there's so much of it, so you have to sift through those things and dig into those rabbit holes. And sometimes you come out, feeling really good, and sometimes you come out with rabbit stuff on you. So, but you have to be willing to take the risk. Life is about risk and risk management. So you manage those risks, and there's nobody comes out unscathed unless you just stay and do the same old thing that you always are doing. No one comes out unscathed. So it's again. Shout out to my Sihing Eduardo, my Sihing Gino. Shout outs to you. All right. Shout outs to Shimo. Right. Shout outs to you. I'm trying to do hard. I promised that I would promote and do right by the Lin. We are having, speaking of Lin, my Shifu, Mauricio Zanetti, is coming to the U.S. April the 19th. And he's coming to Dover, Delaware, and he's going to be teaching Taolu, Pi Chui, and he's going to be drilling into Wushu. I'm not my teacher, okay? I would like to believe that I have a deep understanding of Wushu, but there's a reason why I call him Shifu. So, and he has the receipts. He knows where all the bodies are buried. He spent a large percentage of his life doing this. This is his. He doesn't have hobbies. He has this. He's dedicated to this 100%, and he's able to do the things that you hear that's supposed to be part of 7 Star. The following year, him willing and the Creek Don't Rise, we'll try to bring in Lin Dongzhu. That's going to be, I'm sorry, it's going to be standing room only for that one. You better get the moment we announce it, you better get because Lin Dongzhu is a dynamo of 7 Star Praying Mantis. He is the inheritor of 7 Star Praying Mantis and the inheritor of the orthodox style of 7 Star Praying Mantis as designated by the Chinese government, that the Lin family 7 Star Praying Mantis is the orthodox style of 7 Star Praying Mantis. Okay? I didn't say it. The Chinese government said it. No hate mail, okay? None of that stuff, right? That's what, so we're going to try to bring him here to do that the following year. We're doing everything that we can. Instead of just doing this, we're trying very hard to share the information with people so you can experience it. Because it would be real easy for me to say, well, Gua is this, and Go is this, and Lo is this. But showing you the difference between, and you getting a chance to feel it, is very different from you seeing it, or on a video in a photograph. Lo feels different, right? Lo feels different, and Go feels different when you're allowed to guide, and when you're out. And so these. You have the flexible skills that fall under flexibility, and flexibility being, changeable, very change. And then you also have the hard skills, the rigid skills, And we covered today. I covered with all 12 keywords today. If you go back and you look at my Shifu's book, and you go, did we learn that? And we did it. The only one we didn't learn was bang. Bang means to mean. Bang means to support.
Okay.
When you see this maneuver here, this is bang.
Just like broadsword too, right?
Right.
It supports it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right. Okay. Could you give us those dates again for those? Seminars?
The seminars, the 19th in Dover, Delaware.
April?
April 19th in
2026.
2026.
Y'all better go because I'm not gonna be here.
And it's a 10-hour seminar.
Okay.
Taolu. So we have breakfast, Taolu training, lunch, Taolu refresh. That means you can go over and ask questions, and and then we drill into Wushu. Because now you have a vocabulary of movement, and now you get a chance to, try it out against an opponent. Learning how to slide, how to withdraw. Because you learn how to move in, but you also learn how to withdraw. But you withdraw without taking a step back. You withdraw and close, which allows you, the last movement, when you use the last movement, when you qua and the other person pees, or you qua and the other person cuts, you start to see that, it's, so you actually get that kind of energy, using the waist and using the legs too, right? Because the hips are doing this. So I'm a fan of Wushu. I mean, I'm a fanboy for Wushu. I'm sorry. Yeah.
And have you picked a date for? You said in 2027.
Not yet, but we're going to try to do them. We're going to try to do them in April. So we'll try to do it in April, and we'll build upon that, because the goal for us is to create, ultimately, to create our own summer camp gathering. Because there's one. My Shifu has one in Bologna, or this year it's going to be in Malta, I think. Yeah, Malta, and it's in June.
Okay.
So that'll give us space to do this, and then we can do the thing in Malta, or the thing in Bologna, or wherever one of the practitioners are. We have branches in Dover, Delaware. We have branches in California and LA. We have a branch in Dubai. There's a branch in Argentina, Brazil. There's a branch in the Netherlands. And then, of course, there are branches all over Italy and Malta.
It's interesting that you're getting together for like a gathering, because that's something that, myself and Trevor and some of the other individuals in the Northern Shaolin community, we sort of kind of talked about a little bit. Like, it'd be cool. I mean, there's so many different schools, especially in America and South America. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm like, we could actually do a gathering, but trying to get everybody together would be like,
because nobody's on the same page
Act
about
of Congress.
oh my goodness, yes. But maybe that's something in the future.
The thing that helps it happen is personal relationships, and sometimes you just have to go to the places and train with the people there and develop personal relationships based on your experience. A lot of times what we'll do is that we'll take other people's experiences or what other people say about experiences and find out that they're not necessarily correct. I spent multiple years thinking that I'm not going to say this, I don't want to say this, but believing that if I had a certain Sifu that I would learn everything. Okay, I have a student who actually moved here from Rome to learn from me, only for me to go to Bologna to learn 7-star.
Okay, I ain't even going.
That is ironic.
You had a student move from Rome.
He's from Rome. He stayed here because he wanted to learn 7-star from me. That was a primary reason why he stayed here initially. And what do? I start training with a Sifu in Bologna.
So I gotta ask, how did that go about? I mean, he's still training.
Yeah, the great thing about him is that he doesn't need a translator.
Okay.
Yeah.
He doesn't need a translator, so we can have. He is going to be very helpful in April. Right, coming in April, my Sihing Gino is coming. He runs a very successful school of Lin family in Malta, and my Shifu, who's coming from Bologna. So, and Gino is well versed in Italian and in English. So we'll have plenty of ways to, there's going to be a lot of assistance there, at various levels. Gino is very, very good. So, and you're surprised because I very rarely say things like that, don't I?
No, you're right. I know. Yeah.
Well, my ego's been checked.
Yeah, you're for me knowing you over the years, like if you give praise to something or somebody, it's legit.
Yeah.
And I know that about you, so I guess I can drink the Kool-Aid.
Man, this Kool-Aid ain't spiked, baby.
No, you're right.
It is red.
We talking cherry or tropical
No,
punch?
red, baby. The Kool-Aid is only one flavor, and it's red. That Kool-Aid, what flavor is it? Red. I knew as a kid we always wanted the red.
Yeah.
And you need like a half a bag of sugar to sweeten that mess.
If it's not diabetes in a glass, I don't want it.
There you go.
So Sifu, so what are your I guess you gave us what your future plans are for, expounding upon, the Lin family, Praying Mantis and things like that. But so what about, like, I guess, what do you want to get out of your training this system?
Well, the thing is that I really love Wushu, and I can share Wushu. But a thing that I'm really passionate about as well as Wushu is the 18 Lohangung. And that is, I have to be very careful about sharing the 18 Lohangung because that is a jewel of 7-star. And the 18 Lohangung of the Lin family is very different from the 18 Lohangung that I learned previously. Because I learned 18 Lohangung by way of a school in New York under my Sifu Zhonghua. And the Lohangung is very different. So that is a thing I would like to share because what it does is it makes you strong. It's the equipment because a lot of times with Chinese martial arts, you use your own body to create strength by training and using body weight and using muscle against muscle and so you do that sort of training. and it's found in 18 Lohangong. So I'd like to spend the time passing that information on. I don't know if I'll be able to do it in a seminar setting. I would have to make sure I clear it with the elders of my style. But I do teach it to my students. They do learn Lohangong, and Lohangong is an excellent way of training those things we were talking about. We talk about, using the power of the tendons. Well, how do you train it? You talk about keeping the mind clear while in distress. Well, how do you train it? We talk about opening and closing. Well, how do you train it? So those things are going there. And then also using the mind to visualize movement inside the body. That's also in Lohangong. 25 years ago, if someone had said that to me, I would have been, yeah, right. But again, I've been on a eating crow tour for the last 3 years. It's a crow buffet. And at this point, if I got to eat some more crow, I'll go ahead and eat crow. I'll eat crow because you know what? Right at this table over here is chicken fried steak, baby.
Filet mignon.
The good stuff.
That's right. I got chicken fried steak on this table over here.
So does anybody have any questions for Sifu Thomas while we have him on the pod?
On this hot seat.
I just say I like for you to come down again if you get a chance and train with us again.
Well, I mean, I'm retired officially. I'm a regular day job. This is all I do. So, I mean, I do this regularly. I mean, I do collect. I have a few hobbies. I collect jazz.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a bit of an audiophile. And
I'm a musician myself.
Yeah, I don't play no music. I just listen to it.
Hey, it don't matter.
I miss that shit. And I went to a school of the arts. I could have actually studied music, but again, kung fu and visual art and all these things is very, very difficult because art forms are very demanding. But yeah, I would love to. I would love to come down. I'd love to bring the tribe along too, because and that will probably happen because. Trevor and I have been talking, and Trevor and I have been talking about things that we're going to do in the future, and my poacher's net is always there. I ain't catching butterflies, partner.
Well, I really appreciate you coming down.
Sure.
Because I know a lot of people don't get what you're putting out, and so it's an honor to have you come down and share these things and spend time with us and talk with us, because I mean I'll be honest, I'll say sometimes you have teachers who want to do seminars and things like that, and if there's not a certain amount of people or you don't have a certain amount of
and you hit the dough.
space, right? Yeah, right. It's like, hey, I'm not really interested, but you weren't like that. Whoever came, they came. You shared. You gave us a lot of knowledge.
Four of us this morning.
Adaptability, man. You got to adapt to the situation.
I'm thinking, how many opportunities are you going to have to actually learn 7-star praying mantis from a 7-star praying mantis Sifu? And I mean, to me, being here was just a great experience. So
I really enjoyed it, and so I learned a lot.
Yeah, the goal is to don't talk about it, be about it. And so if I say to you, oh, this is very different, and then when you touch or you feel it and it feels the same, then you say, well, this ain't different. Like in the beginning, I'm sure you said when we were doing form training, you figured that, when I said we were doing Kerr, and you figured it was the same old thing until you felt it. Then you were like, oh, it's not the same thing. Right. It's because Kerr has a way about it. Okay, you're knocking, you're bumping, and and Kerr is one of the principles. So the only one we didn't cover today was Bang. That's the only one.
Listen, I'm mad you said the word and my arm started to ache again.
I remember the look on your face when you said, he were like, Ow!
Me and Trevor did the shoulder bump. I'm still feeling that.
Yeah, I was like, I hit it. I was like, are you good, John?
I'm good. I'm good.
That was before you realized that you're supposed to hit him back. See?
Do a little bump back.
So the whole idea is that you are both people that is getting conditioned. So when you're doing strikes to the body, you're not just a target sitting there. Yeah. You're an active target. Like I say, the example I use is you're Walter Payton. Walter Payton would hit you. Hit you. That's right. And a lot of times people would bounce off because they weren't ready for it.
They weren't ready.
Okay, he dipped that shoulder. So
in the mouth.
that's what's happening with this. Both sides are getting conditioning. I'm learning to exercise force on your body, but you're also learning to absorb the force. Okay, and that's very important because we like blocks, but you can't block everything.
That's right.
No.
You're gonna get hit.
Yeah.
You're gonna fight. You're gonna get hit.
Be ready.
Right.
To get hit.
So if the body is strong, then you have to protect the vulnerable areas instead of protecting the whole body. Because the whole body you can close or open, withstand the blow or whatever, and so that's another big piece to it. And it needs to be hard. It needs to hurt. It really does. It needs to hurt. And then we also went on the Samsing turn. We're gonna keep that under wraps. What happened with the Samsing? But Samsung is the iron palm or steel palm. Sometimes they call it that. It has a difference to it. Because it's all connected. Again, it's the same Shenfa. It's not something different. Oh, we're doing iron palm training. Same Shenfa. And another thing, as we leave, this is something my teacher says, and we'll end with this. 7-star praying mantis praying mantis as an art comes from Tongbei. No Tongbei, no praying mantis.
I've never heard that either.
I'll probably get the moment this post. I'll probably get those dagger. I'll get all these messages. Hey, you told too much. Too late.
Be sure to leave your comments in the section.
Well, does anybody else have anything else for Sifu Thomas before we get off this podcast?
If people wanted to train with you, or how would they get a hold of you?
You can get a hold of me at adele.tanglang@gmail or area code 202-246-7524. Leave me a text. I don't recognize your number. I'm not picking up. So leave me a text. Yeah, I'm that person. I'm still ducking a few people. Okay.
And if you're looking for a qualified, true martial artist, true qualified Sifu Thomas is the man. I will definitely say that. I've known him for years. He's always been an upfront individual, great character, knows his stuff, is a student of what he preaches, and he hurts. So you're going to learn how to use your Kung Fu.
We can attest to that. This man has tied both me and Sifu up and dropped us on our head plenty of times.
Yes. So anybody else have anything else before we get out of here? Well, Sifu Thomas, thank you so much for being on here. Thank you so much for telling us about, your martial journey and things that you're experiencing and going through. And hopefully in the future we can have you back on. And I don't know. I guess I may have to look into what's going on in April. You never know. You might see me there.
Yeah, ain't no might about you. Gonna be there.
Okay.
Yeah, if I can't be there, you won't be there.
I gotta be there. Okay.
It's if you're pleased with this, you're going to be ecstatic with my Shifu. He is a different kind of individual. Character-wise, we are very similar. Okay. And that's, you have a tendency to attract who you are. We're very similar. And I've been lucky and fortunate enough to meet him, at this time in my life. So I'm really, really, I'm appreciative of what I've been given.
Got you. I do have a question real quick. I just thought about it. So Sifu Zanetti, is he an older gentleman, a younger gentleman?
Sifu Zanetti is 2 years older than me, around 68 years old.
Okay.
He moves like a 30-year-old.
Wow.
The excuses that I make about, oh, I'm old, I can't do that. I look at my Sifu, I got no excuse.
If you look at like videos of him and stuff, I honestly would never have thought he is as old as he is.
I don't think I've ever seen what he looks like.
We'll show
Yeah,
you.
show the video has him on it. We specifically put together a montage of him doing things alongside Lin Dong Zhu. So you get a chance to see Lin Dong Zhu, who is more compact. He's a shorter guy, and then Zanetti, who's over 6 feet. So you get a chance to see the same principles, right? But how they look to you is not the same, even though they're doing the same thing.
Yes, sir.
Interesting. Okay. Well, this has been great. Learned a whole lot. Thank you for the seminar.
Sure.
Thank you for being
Yes.
on the podcast.
Yeah.
Thank all of you for being on the podcast.
You're welcome.
And thank you guys for listening to us. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And this is Martial Mentality signing out. Peace.